Two, three. Welcome to the A1 Podcast. It's your host, Asif Ali. I am joined today by NIU St. Francis record holder in terms of rushing yards, in addition to current semi-pro, and I believe former pro, right? I think you had a stint with some pro teams?
No, I never played with any pro teams yet.
Okay, not yet. Oh, not yet. See, there we go.
Uh,
So St. Francis and NIU standout and looking to, get the pro team, Mr. Dwayne Milton. Dwayne, how you doing today, brother?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
100%, man. So yeah, obviously, we're chatting right before, the episode. Did you have a good weekend?
For sure. Most definitely had a good weekend with my family. So,
Oh, good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah. No, I mean, MLK Day, obviously, the holiday is one thing, but it's also kind of understanding what the significance of the holiday is, right, in these times. So
most
I mean,
definitely.
yeah. So most definitely. So, all right. So we'll get right into it, man. I mean, so are you from Chicago or are you from the suburbs of Illinois?
I'm originally from Chicago, but I played my high school ball out in the Rockford area.
Rockford. Okay.
Yeah.
So did you go to Rockford High School?
I was at Harlem High School, and then I mean I did fairly decent there. I really wasn't the featured player. I mean I was a good role player at my high school, but I wasn't the featured guy. So coming out of high school, I didn't really have a lot of looks.
And it's interesting you mentioned that. Actually, yeah, we can go back to even before that, before high school, because talk to me about was football your first love, or did you kind of get into it after your first love didn't pan out as a sport?
No, football was definitely my first love. I was in Chicago playing Chicago Public League schools. I was
CPS.
playing fifth and sixth grade at the age of third grade with all my young homies. So yeah, I've been playing football since kindergarten, and I haven't stopped until now. Honestly, my last years of college was my last time playing football, but I'm trying to keep going and playing the pros because, like you said, this my love, so I can't just stop now.
100%. No, you can't stop now, right? So it's good that you obviously started with the game. I didn't start late, but you can see the results right here. I'm good. So, but yeah, so pretty much, obviously, and so obviously you went to Harlem High School, and kind of were you always a running back, or what was your position?
And in high school, we had a spread offense,
Hmm.
so I was more of a slot receiver in high school. I
Right.
did a lot of jet sweeps and all of that stuff, so that's probably why I didn't touch the ball that much. They thought I was too small to run in between the tackles, so they really they really ain't put me back there at the running back spot. And we also had a pretty decent running back too, and Kevin Witzik himself. So I can't really complain. Like I said, I was my role player. I was the role player on the team, and I ain't really complaining. And I really didn't know the whole, you feel me, college aspect of things and how to get into college and how to talk to coaches and how to recruit myself. So I wasn't really big on that stuff. So I just knew I knew how to play football, and that was about it.
So obviously, you said you weren't heavily recruited. You didn't get the playing time that you wanted, right? So
No,
kind of what was how were you able to get into St. Francis? Where you ended up actually playing, your college career.
it's a crazy story. I got to date back to like right after high school. Right after high school, I joined the military.
Okay.
Uh, Went to the National Guard, and you feel me, was kind of just out in my lane, figuring out what I'm gonna do next. Since I ain't got no offers, I ain't got no college scholarships, I ain't got nothing like that. So I got to figure out, what's my next lane. So, as I was in basic training and I was with all the guys, we were talking and writing letters and doing all that other stuff. The conversation just came up about what I'm gonna do when I go back home. Because when I was in basic training, I was with a bunch of active duty guys, so they already knew where they was going. They already knew they duty station and everything. But I was going back home and I didn't know what to do. So shit, one day it was just like, I'm gonna play football at NIU. And I was like, I'm gonna stick to it. I'm gonna keep going with it. So shit, when I graduated basic training, I went back home. I think I had like a month left or 2 months left or something like that in order to sign up for classes and get going for NIU. So I just did that. and signed up for classes. And then shoot, I was calling. I let one season go by. I was going to all the games at NIU, and I was like, man, I know I could play here. This is, it's nothing to it but the game of football. So I was calling everybody every day, just to try to see if I can get some answers or something. And every time I called, they were like, the coaches ain't talking to nobody during season. Call back this time. I was like, damn, I ain't gonna never get in there. And then one time I was just like, forget it. I'm gonna call one more time. I was in the dorms with my roommates, and they were like, bro, just forget it, man. You're not gonna get it. Just forget it. So I call them. I call NIU. One of the operation guys picked up, and he was like talking to me, and I was like, who can I talk to about walking on? And he gave me a name, he gave me an email address. And shoot, the rest is history from that. And then, NIU gave me a shot to try out. I did what I had to do, and then I was there for 4 years. And then come my senior year, the coach was just like, I decided I'm not gonna bring you back for your senior year. So I was like, damn, now what I'm gonna do?
Right.
I mean, I was already graduating anyway, so I kind of figured it was coming anyway. So I still had a couple of years of eligibility. And this is how I ended up at St. Francis. Another crazy story. NIU had a football camp going on. I took my little brother there so he can get some exposure. And there was a bunch of coaches around, and I was talking to some of the NIU players because they were all my homies. And I was talking to one of my homies, but at the same time I was talking loud enough so that all the coaches around me can hear me.
Right.
And I was like, shoot, which one of these coaches need a running back? I could rush for 2,000, easy. And the St. Francis coach turned around and was like, what's your name? And I was like, shoot, you can look up my film on YouTube. I got YouTube film from NIU practices. And shoot, a couple of days later, he called me and was like, I looked at your film. I like it. He's like, you can start here right away. I was like, shoot, I'm in the door.
Man. So
Crazy.
obviously, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm just saying, crazy story.
Great story, and kind of, your story, it kind of harkens back to my story because because you took some time off before you got back into playing from high school all the way, to playing at St. Francis and then NIU.
Yeah.
So kind of, with me, I wasn't able to play in high school, but then I basically kind of decided to take kind of what you did, to do tryout route at the JUCOs around here. Obviously not 4-year, right? Like NIU or St. Francis, but pretty much kind of, the kind of, like you said, call the coaches, just keep getting out there, making sure that, they understand that, you're willing to work. And basically, just showing them your effort, and your dedication, and eventually landed me in San Jose City College in 08, my freshman year, and then basically my sophomore year, landed me at West Valley, where I got this boy. So,
Where is that at?
West Valley College out here in Saratoga, in the Bay Area.
That's
Yeah.
what's up.
Yeah, appreciate it, bro. So, and obviously your story is amazing. So, I mean, obviously, talk to me about what it was like working and walking on for the first time. At NIU or at St. Francis. What was it NIU, right? First.
Yeah.
NIU, right? Okay, let's talk to me about that.
Walking on, I think I came in. They were doing spring ball, and they were already 2 weeks into spring ball. Spring ball is only like a month, so the last 2 weeks, I actually got my opportunity. I had to learn the playbook, and the spring game was coming up, and I had to learn the playbook in 2 weeks before the spring game. So I was like, forget it. I'm gonna learn the basic plays, learn what I need to do, and I'm gonna just go and ball out. So the spring game came around. One of the running backs got hurt. Another running back got hurt. So that gave me more opportunities to carry the ball, more opportunities to, get looks out there. My first spring game, I came out, had the most yards out of all the running backs, and ended it there. And then the coach, he had his exit interviews and was like, I like what I saw, but I mean, your time here was very short, so you only been here for 2 weeks. So I still need to evaluate you or whatever. And so what he did was he made me a gray shirt. When you gray shirt, so you don't you basically just work out with the team. You're not on the roster, not part of the team. You're not nothing. You just somebody who coming in and want to play. So he was like, "Shoot, I'm a gray shirt you. If you come to workouts every day, if you show you consistent, you show you determined, I keep your spot." So shoot, that's what I did. I was up every day, 5 a.m, doing 100% cleans and 100% squats and 100% power cleans every morning. So I was like, man, this is what I got to do. And shoot, it actually helped me. It saved me throughout my whole college career. So, yeah, everybody saw me. Everybody was like, man, you got some game, man. So, yeah, the rest was history after that, man.
The rest was history, man. Absolutely. So kind of obviously, you're able to kind of, make the most of your opportunity, trying out and working out and just committing to the program at NIU. Talk to me about kind of what it was like for you after you'd finally earned your spot. And then, obviously, from going from a walk on to, I believe, what you earned a scholarship, right?
Yeah, I did earn a scholarship
You're
like
right.
my
So,
junior year.
okay. So talk to me about the process, in between freshman year walk on and obviously gray shirt and then all the way through, your junior year when you earned your scholarship.
Sure, I just had to keep working, man. Every day in practice, I was on scout team, obviously,
Right.
like my first couple of years there. But shoot, every day in practice, the starting defense hated me. They
Love it.
they absolutely hated me.
Right.
They would come to me before practice and be like, "Hey, bro, you need to calm down." Like every like it'll be one play, 2 plays, and then the third play out and broke an 80-yard run. Or one play, 2 play, here comes another 80-yard run. Or the first play, here's another 80-yard run. So I mean, I was at the point where I was making bets with people in the NIU locker room talking about, hey man, I bet you won't break an 80-yard run today. I was racking up on people money because people was betting me and I was breaking these 80-yard runs. So it was that. It was my gameplay, my consistency, my leadership ability, because the coach looked at me as a leader. And I came out with a bunch of energy all the time. And the coach came up to me. He was like, "Your energy is what leads people on this team. So when you have a negative day, everybody else have a negative day. So I need you to come out," like he was telling me, "I need you to come out here on a positive note so you can have everybody else out here positive." And she would come my junior year, he brought me into his office and was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna put you on scholarship, help you out a little bit because I was kind of struggling financially, trying to keep everything together." And he helped me out a little bit. So it was a pretty surreal moment getting on scholarship because I never expected it. I was already getting my tuition paid for from the military. So
Right.
I really wasn't worried about scholarships or anything like that. But it was a surreal moment to actually get that acknowledgement to actually be on scholarship because of all the hard work I put in. So
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's kind of like I guess a crowning moment, or like kind of like a defining, yeah, a crowning achievement, and like a defining moment, in your
almost
college career. Yeah.
that and getting my first carry. I think those are like the two highlight moments of my college career. Like getting my first carry in a big game and actually playing in a big game. Sure, I was messing the defense up so bad that one of the grad assistants came to me and was like, "Yeah, man, I got you. Go check the depth charts." And I checked the depth charts, and here I am on special teams, starting on every single one of them. So I was like, "Man, I appreciate it, man." So, but he was like, "Yeah, your hard work don't go unnoticed, man." I was like, "Yeah."
100%. Speaking of special teams, let me see if you can read that.
Special team, yeah, that's what I was told one time. I was told that special teams is what gets you on the bus. And
Facts.
I wasn't worried about playing running back because I knew we had a bunch of running backs in our system. I wasn't worried about playing receiver because I knew we had a bunch of receivers and I knew that wasn't my go-to anyway.
Right.
So I was like, this special teams thing is where I'm gonna be. I mean, I never was a returner, but I was on the field and I started all the big games. We played Nebraska. We played Nebraska in front of Nebraska and shut all 90,000 fans up there. that was a great experience.
Yes, sir.
Playing in all the bowl games, starting in all the bowl games, man. It was a great experience, man.
And obviously that experience, and obviously the ring I just showed you was from the AIF. So we played it, I guess, at maybe like 25, 30,000 max, mainly around like 5, 10, 20 on like 15 maybe on a good day. So kind of obviously, what was that experience like for you, right? Because obviously for you going from a walk on and finally starting or again, and for you, and also I also want to add this. You mentioned that you weren't like a returner, like one of the flashy kind of special teams players, but you were always on the field. Like for me,
Yep.
I was never a returner. I was a gunner. I was the up back on punt, and I was a jammer on return. You know, and so you obviously know those terms. So talk
Yeah.
to me about kind of what your experience was like playing special teams, but also doing it at the big stage.
So I started kickoff to start it off, and he had me at the 5 position, right next to the kicker. And
Right.
usually, if you ever look at the 5 position on any college or NFL teams, those are deep defensive linemen, linebacker guys, big guys that they want running down the middle of the field. No, he had me running down the middle of the field. He knew I was gonna get down there first, and he knew I was gonna make a play if need be. But yeah, it was. I mean, I was on kick return. I was a block. I was the front line on kick return, and I was like you said, I was a jammer on punt return, and I was on the line on punt. So I mean, I did it all, and like the experience of it was great because again, I'm a reference back to Nebraska. When we went to Nebraska, they sell out every game. They sell out their stadium, and the roar of the crowd is just insane. Like, you can actually feel your feet rumbling on the stadium on the turf. But shoot, we shut them up though, so they ain't have much to cheer about. But I mean, it's a great experience, man. Playing on all the different fields, going to San Diego, playing at the Charger Stadium. We played at the They turned the White Sox Stadium into a football field for us one time. Playing at the White Sox Stadium. I mean, it's a great experience, man. All the new jerseys we got, all the hospitality we got. It was a great experience.
100%. Obviously, kind of, the because it's a riveting experience, and I've had multiple, former D1A, FBS or CFP players on the show too, and pretty much, they all talked about the same thing. Like I know Lofa Tupu ended up playing in the NFL. He's like one of my best friends on the show, and he played 3 years. He was a two-time Pro Bowler with the Seahawks. But basically, he played at USC, and then and he said his favorite moment was when he went to Auburn, and then he basically like the ball hits him in the face mask, and his coach is like, "Are you really in this game?" And he's like, "Coach, I got this." And then he had his best game, you know.
Yeah.
And kind of like I'm sure that you felt the same way. And like from you mentioned kind of like your first carry, first everything, right? For me,
Yep.
my best moment was actually my first tackle on special teams, on kickoff, and like you said, getting down the field first. And I mean, similar to you, I mean, obviously, like at all levels, a special teamer. Maybe for you, I mean, at the current level you're at, you're not playing special teams. You're probably more of a primary, offensive, or defensive player. But
Yeah.
obviously, like when you're at that level, with D1 athletes who are like borderline professional NFL players, people don't really understand and respect the value of special teams. Like you said, like it's how you get on the bus, right? And like you said, it's cleanup crew. So
You want to talk to, baby? Yeah.
hey,
Hey, yeah, that is how you get on the bus though. And I was traveling ever since my sophomore year.
right.
So even though my sophomore year, even though I wasn't the starter at the time, I was still able to travel. And meanwhile, you got all of these other guys sitting back. I was still able to get the travel gear, and I was still able to get the experience of going to a different city or going to a different state. And ain't nothing better than that when you traveling to a football game with your teammate, right? Everybody know that feeling, and everybody know how fun that is. So
Yeah. Yeah. Not everybody knows that feeling though, right?
yeah, yeah, you're right.
Exactly. So, but you're right though. I mean, obviously, you and I, we can share that, and yeah, I totally agree with you. It's an amazing feeling. So obviously, after Nebraska, I mean, you guys played against obviously, you mentioned the big names as universities and stadiums, Nebraska, San Diego, right?
Yeah.
And then also kind of, obviously like your first carry and your first time on special teams was like your greatest moments. And you earned a scholarship, right? So after your junior year and your junior season, and the coach does not bring you back for senior year, and you're about to graduate, right? And I guess actually, let me ask you this: what was it like trying to balance, being active? Were you active duty military or you reserve?
Reserve, National Guard.
National Guard. Okay. So talk to me about what it was like balancing that out, right? Because you still have to go,
Yeah.
occasionally, out to the base and right, 2 weeks out of
I
the year.
had, yeah. I was one weekend in the month, 2 weeks in the summer. I was so thankful that like every, now I wouldn't say every weekend, but just about like when I had military work, we didn't have a game because usually um, NIU they'll play like half their season on the weekends, and then like the final half would be like midday games, like Tuesday, Wednesday games. So I was fortunate that like may out of my 4 years at NIU, maybe like one or two games fell on the same weekend that I had to go to drill.
Right.
And my military people, I was the first person to ever play Division 1 football in my company. So everybody was like, "Man, shoot, go ahead, go play football, man."
Yeah.
So when it came down to it, when I had to choose between football and military, I always wanted to choose football because that's my calling. So if I could get out of the military and go football, that's what I'm gonna do. And so a lot of times, shoot, they let me go. So I really didn't have a problem with any interference with that. Another thing is like right before I joined NIU at the walk on stage, the head coach interviewed me with the running back coach, and he was trying to ask me all these questions about the military just to try to find another reason that he didn't have to bring me onto his team. Because he was like, I think he asked me a question about deployment, and I was like, well, my unit just deployed in 2009. At the time, I think it was 2014,
Right.
and he was like, 2009, that's kind of far, isn't it? And I was like, yeah, not for a National Guard unit. That's relatively soon. So I mean, and he was just keep trying to ask me questions. He was like, how often do you got to go? And I was telling him how often I had to go, and he was like, you think it'll interfere with football? And I said we'll talk about it. We'll get to that stage when it comes. But I mean, they knew when I had to leave. They accepted it. They knew it. Sometimes I had to leave during practice, and they were like, all right, you cool. You still got your starting spot. Whatever. So yeah, I mean, they both sides accommodated it very well, and I was very thankful about it. So I can't really complain about that. I mean, I would say it was tough because I had to balance school, I had to balance the military, and I had to balance football all at the same time. But it was, I mean, it's something I wanted to do. So I mean, it's something I had to do. I had to get it done.
100%, and you obviously did that, and I mean, obviously, I salute you for your service, and obviously it's amazing to hear that, 100%. So, pretty much kind of now we get to the point, you mentioned your coach, was trying to find reasons to not bring you on, and now, here we are junior year, and after your junior season, he's not going to bring you back for your senior year, right?
Yeah.
Talk to me about kind of your thought process at that point. Were you immediately starting to look for different schools to play at, or were you kind of, just still trying to evaluate, what's your next step or next move?
Uh, so the year before that, I was already kind of flirting with transferring. I wasn't really getting the playing time that I felt like I expected to. I felt because like I said, I've been killing NIU starting defense since I walked in there. So I felt like I was, bound to get some type of reps and some type of, reps at the running back position. But that just never happened. So like my junior year, I was kind of flirting with transferring or whatever. And actually, the running back coach at the time, he actually called St. Francis, and because they got real close ties there, and he called St. Francis and was like, "Hey, I got a running back here for you that can actually start right now for you guys." And then I thought about it. I had a few teams. I had Quincy, is a D2 school in kind of southern Illinois, and I had St. Francis, and I had another school that was kind of looking at me, but I didn't want to go too far because I really couldn't because of the military. And at the same time, I was just like, yeah. So I really thought about it, and I just stayed my junior year. And then that's when he put me on scholarship. And the next year, he was like, yeah, I'm decided to not bring you back for your senior year. And I was like, I mean, that's cool. I was graduating anyways. I knew I had a couple years of eligibility left. So like afterwards, I was already, as soon as he said that, I was really able to email coaches and email teams, and because I couldn't do that while I was on the roster.
Right.
So I was actually kind of happy he did that at the same time, so I can actually explore and go around and see who actually wanted me. I already had film. I already had my film collected up, so I was just sending it out to a whole bunch of coaches. And like I said before, I could have went somewhere. I could have. It was Montana. Montana is in their D2 school, and he wanted me to come over there and play. But then I was like, I can't go too far because I still got my military obligations to go through.
Right.
So St. Francis was kind of just the fit for me at the time because they were in talks with me. He knew that I was in the military. He knew that I had military training, and he was still able to accommodate it. And that's what really sold me to a bunch of coaches, really, and what sold me to NIU, because the reason I decided to stay is because they accommodated my military and football together. So I was like, you guys helped me out with that, so I'm not just gonna leave y'all right out the blue like that. So. And that's another thing, when St. Francis accommodated my military schedule and everything, I was just like, all right, I can deal with it because you guys are helping me out, so I'm gonna help y'all out basically.
100%, yeah. And I mean, it was really cool, kind of, obviously, like when the school is able to do that for you, right? Because
Yeah,
not many schools may be able to go ahead.
yeah, I'm just agreeing to you most definitely because what really was a problem for me was over the summer. Over the summer, military, we do our 2 weeks of training, and every year that week kind of bumped up, so it went to 3 weeks, and then another year went to a whole month somewhere. So usually around that time is when NIU would be starting their summer workouts. So I would miss like the first couple weeks of summer workouts, and then when I came back, I would be absolutely like not in football shape, not in weightlifting shape, not ready to do anything, and I would have to come back, and they would already be halfway through, their workout program, and they would be doing. But the strength coach didn't care where I was or where they was. My numbers were the same as their numbers. So even though I was 2 weeks late, I still had to go in there and squat 300 pounds. I still had to go in there and clean 200 plus pounds. So that was the only thing that was kind of, hard for me, because I would go in, and the summer workouts would absolutely destroy me because I was not physically conditioned for them. But it came around and it worked out just fine for me. So
Definitely did, right? So
yeah,
now, yeah. So talk to me about the transition. Obviously, you went from a big school like NIU to St. Francis. Talk to me about that.
yeah. Let me see where I want to start. Sure. I mean, it's going from big school to small school. I mean, obviously, it's gonna be kind of tough. The only thing that was really tough about it was more so the lack of, I would say, equipment and resources that St. Francis had that NIU didn't have. Uh, the coaching, I mean, NIU had a million coaches. St. Francis only had like their positional coaches. So I mean, the transformation from that is a lot different. Like the D1 level is more so hard nosed, and everybody has to be on the same page, and everything is so this way, and this way. And then you get to St. Francis, the NAI level, and it's kind of more relaxed because it's not so many coaches down your throat, and it's only so much they can do with all eight coaches. But I mean, I made the best of my opportunity, made the best of it. what was given to me. That's for sure.
Right. You absolutely did. And, obviously, and I appreciate you kind of talking about that because, for me playing JUCO, then going to arena, then playing semi-pro, which we'll get into in a bit because, we both played semi-pro in Chicago.
Yeah,
It's definitely an adjustment, right?
yeah, it was
So
huge
yeah.
adjustment having to wash
Un-
my own wash my own clothes after practice. So I mean, all of that stuff was a huge adjustment. But I mean, it was it molds you, man. It builds you into the kind of the person that you are, the character that you
yes.
get.
And pretty much, I think with that, obviously, you're able to kind of take that and, basically, I feel like, you're just able to kind of just run with it. And so kind of talk to me about your first season there at St. Francis.
So my first season, I was just coming back from a month-long military training. I think I had 2 weeks to prepare for the first game. I had to learn the whole playbook. I had to get conditioned. I had to get football conditioned all in 2 weeks. And we, as a small NAIA school, the first game of the season was a D1 FCS opponent, Sacramento State.
Ooh, right here.
Yeah, right off the bat, that was their first opponent. And I was like, yeah, boy, like you guys are crazy. But anyways, yeah, man, and football is football, and I just went out there, and I think against Sac State, I had 14 carries for 90 something yards. I think it was like 94, 96 yards or something like that. Yeah, we got shut out big time. I think it was like 55-7 was the final score. But shoot, I showed them I could play, and that's really what I went out there to do. I showed them that I could play, and they was like, "Yeah, we know." From that film, they was like, "All right, we know he can play." And then I started the rest of the games after that, and I ended up putting over 1,000 that year. I was kind of cool being the feature back. Like I said, in high school I wasn't the feature back. In college I wasn't the feature back. I
Right.
mean, the only time I was a feature back was when I played CPS, elementary school ball.
Yeah.
So now I come back, that's the same feeling that I got at St. Francis, that elementary school vibe ball, and shoot, that's how I went out there and played because I was a beast in elementary school. And so the first season I put up over 1,000. I broke the single season record. Um, I also broke the single season for most yards in the game that year. I had 256, no, 249. Yeah, 249 against one team, and that was the most yards in the game.
Ooh,
That was the
cooking.
first time. That was the first time I started breaking records there. And then next year, I actually had an off season, and because I was done with the military, so I actually had an off season. I was able to work out. I was able to, actually get into football shape before season even started. I was
Right.
able to participate in fall camp, which I really haven't done. Um, and yeah, my last season at St. Francis, I put up over 1,400 yards. I led the nation. I led the nation in rushing. Again, I broke the single season record. I broke the single game record again. I had 316 one game. Actually, I broke it twice. I broke it twice. The earlier in the season, I had 256 against one team, and then later in the season, I had 316 against another team. Broke that record. I broke the record for most touchdowns in the game with 5. Sure, man. That's really what I wanted to do. I wasn't really expecting to get too much notoriety from NFL teams, from scouts, because it's an NAIA school. It's very small. What I wanted to do was go in there and put my name on something. That's what I told a couple of the running backs at NIU. I was like, man, I just want to go there, put my name on something, break a few records, and be something. Not just saying that I went to NIU and barely played. I actually want to go and say, yeah, I went to St. Francis and I did this and I did that, and so that's what I went there and did, man. I think I got like half of their rushing. Well, I got all but one of their rushing records, and that's all time. And I was like 300 yards short, and that's only because I played 2 seasons, and the guy who got it had played 4 seasons. So.
Right, and actually, yeah, I actually pulled up your St. Francis profile. Let me read some of this. Kind of, you already adjusted these. You're a first team All MSFA Midwest League selection.
2 times.
2 times. Broke USF's record for most rushing yards in a game. 249, like you mentioned, against Lindenwood. This is October 13, 2018. That's actually a week after I got this ring, the Chicago Falcons ring. We played in the conference championship game that year. So, yeah. And then, I mean, not comparable because obviously you're an AI, right? But still, okay. Yeah, I mean, but broke USF's record for most rushing yards in a game, and against Lindenwood, and single season, like you said, 1,089 yards. You're first to break that. Ranked 5th in the MSFA and 19th in NAIA. That means the entire nation total rushing yards, and while averaging 6.26 yards per carry.
That was the first.
Man, you see what I'm saying? I mean, MSFA Midwest League Offensive Player of the Week. Recorded 4 games with at least 100 yards and scored 5 rushing touchdowns. How do you, bro? I mean, I don't even care what level you're at, bro. That's just like, bro, you beast mode. You're like, fuckers, like, we out here, baby. You know what I'm saying?
That was, like I said, 2 weeks of off-season training, man. I ain't even
Right.
have a full off-season, and that's why next year the numbers doubled that, because I actually had an off-season training, and I was able to double the numbers. So.
And pretty much with that conditioning, kind of, was there anything that you did differently during your off-season training versus what you did at NIU that you think it kind of contributed to your success?
Working on my own. I mean, I'm talking about. I used to work an overnight shift, or I used to work a security job from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. I would go home, go to sleep, and when I woke up at like 2 o'clock in the morning, I was at the field. Just 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, when I woke up, I was at the field. I was working. I was getting my feet together. I was getting my speed together. Fall camp come around. I pushed myself every conditioning drill. I made sure I was number one. Made sure I was winning every conditioning drill. After practice, I ran. After practice, I did more gassers. I did more 100-yard sprints. So it was basically more individual work that actually got me that way. And that first year I was at NIU, they used to call, I'm not NIU, at St. Francis, they used to call me 37, because I couldn't break a run over 37 yards. I would get caught. Like I didn't have the stamina to break any long runs, and they called me Mr. 37. I think my longest run that whole year was 37 yards. So. And then to come next year, here I am breaking 80-yarders, 70-yarders, and 60-yarders, and 90-yarders. So the work that you put in yourself is really what's going to make you go that much longer and that much better.
See, actually, let me read this. This is actually from your sophomore year, after near the end of the soft season back 2019. So University of St. Francis senior running back Dwayne Milton. This is what I'm reading right here. You probably already seen that, right?
Yeah.
University running back, St. Francis running back Dwayne Milton, senior Mackenzie Park, Illinois, of the University of St. Francis football team, has been named to the 2019 American Football Coaches Association NAIA Coaches All-America Honorable Mention team as of Thursday, December 5th. The AFCA selected an All-America team since 1945 and currently selects teams in all 5 of its divisions where the coach is picking teams. Milton was one of 5 running backs, so of 5, to achieve AFCA NAIA All-American honorable mention accolades. So this fall, Milton established a USF St. Francis single-season rushing record with 1,475 yards and 13 touchdowns on 245 carries in 11 games. Milton, a 2019 Mid-States Football Association Midwest League first-team pick, was a 3-time September 17th, September 30th, and November 4th MSFA Midwest League's Offensive Player of the Week selection. He accumulates 7 100-yard plus games rushing performances this season, highlighted by USF record 316 yards and 4 touchdowns in a 49-34 conference home victory against Missouri Baptist on November 2nd. Milton also set a school mark with 1,568 all-purpose yards on the season. And then basically, Milton currently ranks third amongst the 2019 NAIA rushing leaders with 1,470 yards, while his 132.5 yards per game on the ground represents the fourth best average in the NAIA. He ranks eighth nationally in both all-purpose yards, 1,568 yards, and all-purpose yards per game with 142.5. Milton, a transfer from NCAA Division I NIU, led the MSFA Midwest League in both rushing and scoring points, 84 points this season, while ranking in rushing yard second in rushing yards per contest, all-purpose yards per game. Milton concluded his two-year St. Francis career ranked second amongst the program's career rushing leaders with 2,546 total and accumulated a school fifth most 18 career rushing touchdowns. I mean, man,
Not
it's
even,
cooking.
not,
Hey,
not
Zeke.
even, right? Not even full 2 years of work, man. I think I played 21 games total, over 2,500 yards.
Right. But obviously, just kind of, what does that mean to you? I mean, kind of, like you said, I mean, you kind of alluded to it. See, for me, I knew I would never get into the NFL because I didn't play in high school and I knew my limitations as an athlete. For me, playing JUCO, even getting a pro arena contract, and then basically even playing semi-pro, where I got this jersey, my last jersey, my All-Star game, was pretty much my pinnacle, right? As an athlete. Talk to me about that, because obviously and actually we'll get into the NFL prospect part in a bit, because we're going to segue to there because we're about to wrap up the St. Francis career. But talk to me about kind of what was your most memorable because you had a bunch of memorable moments, right, from St. Francis. Good.
I would say my two top memorable moments was the first time I think we played Lawrence Tech College there in Michigan. I had 250 against them, 256 or something. But I had it was two plays where I went 1 for 60 and 1 for 83, and it was the first play of the drive, both of them. And yeah, I was a 83-yard touchdown run. Like I said, everybody was calling me Mr. 37. So to break an 83-yard touchdown run, I was like, yeah, now what, motherfuckers?
Yeah.
So, and then that one, and then the game where I had over 300 yards rushing, man, and 4 touchdowns. Not a lot of running backs can say they put up 300 yards in one game, man. So I'm a forever hold and cherish that one. So.
Right,
averaging 10 yards a pop that game. So
100%, man. 10 yards a pop, bro. That's just insane. So I mean, every time you touch the ball, I mean, that's just unheard of. So now, obviously, at this point, you're basically become a NFL draft prospect. I mean, this article right here from Draft Diamonds.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then basically you got an interview with this with Jimmy Williams of NFL Draft Diamonds. Talk to me about that.
He reached out to me on Twitter, and he was like, man, I saw your film. I have my film posted on my Twitter. He said, I saw your film. He just wanted to interview me so I could get more exposure, get more people looking at my name or whatever, since I'm from a small school. That's what Draft Diamonds like to do. They like to take small school guys and like to boost their name up a little bit. So he sent me some interview questions. I answered them. It actually kind of helped me out, because a lot of those guys that do those questions and do a bunch of podcasts and a lot of stuff, they were actually hitting me up, and I did a few podcasts, I did a few interviews. It actually got me into connections with I don't know if you ever heard of it. It's called the College Gridiron Showcase.
Yeah.
It's in Fort Worth, Texas. It actually got me in the door with that one.
Nice.
And I did another Senior Bowl. It was the Pigskin All Star. I did that one. That was in Mobile, Alabama. And yeah, it actually got me more exposure. They had more scouts there. So, I mean, scouts, when they come out, they know who they want to look for. I mean, I went to the College Gridiron Showcase, and again, I balled out there too. Probably the only running back to score two touchdowns in our scrimmage that we played. My bad.
You're good.
But they, like I said, they already got their guys that they wanna talk to and they wanna interview. So I mean, it was good to go out there and get exposure or whatever. But I mean, they already had their guys.
Yeah, and that's the thing, when you kind of have that feeling they already have their guys, and I felt that when I went to SaberCats tryout in 2010. It's like, ugh, like, it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm agreeing with you. Like I said, man, they when they want their guys and when they got their guys and they know who they want, they kind of look over the good talent, everything that's really there. Because like I said, I was balling on them boys. There ain't no way nobody should have came up to me and was like, "Oh, you were number 20, or you were doing that. You're the one that had the long touchdown run, or you the one that had the other touchdown run." Like, there's no way that's the type of stuff. Like, if I was a scout, like, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for playmakers that's gonna score. People that's gonna make big plays. I ain't looking for size or whatever. That's really what they look for. They look for the size so they can make those guys into playmakers instead of getting playmakers that's already there.
Big facts, big facts. And I think obviously, like, even though you weren't the biggest, you still had the most impact.
Mm-hmm.
And pretty much for me, I mean, obviously I can resonate with your story because I also wasn't a big guy. I mean, for me, I was like, I was undersized. That's why they put me on special teams, and I had to put on weight. And it was a great humbling experience for me. So I mean, I think the point of me kind of saying that is that I mean, since I share that struggle of kind of being overlooked because of my size or anything like that, it's just like I've seen so many guys either on this show or guys who I played with either at JUCO or an arena or wherever, who either were talented enough to get the NFL, right? And basically had the talent, but whatever reason, whether it be politics, connections, something along the way, it didn't pan out. And I mean, one of the guests on the show, he actually basically said this. He said, just because you're in the NFL doesn't mean that that you're the best. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You
everybody
feel?
the best player.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I feel like, with your story, I mean, it seems like, you probably, and even now, and now obviously you're playing semi-pro, right?
Yeah, I'm playing with the Illinois Cowboys.
No, no Cowboys. Okay, cool, cool. So I mean, talk to me about kind of that transition because, for me, some playing some going from JUCO to arena to semi-pro, it was just a little bit of a kind of a big adjustment. But obviously, I mean, so to talk about kind of your impression, your experience.
I've been playing semi-pro since like 2017. I think I started with the Rock County Rage, but it was more of a conditioning thing for me. It's not because 20 when I first started, I was still in the military, so I would like miss half the season because it was over the summer and I had to do my military training over the summer. So I would miss half the season like the first couple of years. This year was the only time that I was able to play a full season with the Illinois Cowboys. Like I said, it's still just a conditioning thing. A lot of those guys take it super serious. I mean, when I go out there and ball, I take it super serious because the moment you don't take it serious is the moment you get hurt. But it's not something I'm looking to do in the long run. I'm looking to collect some film, show people that I still got it and I can still do it no matter who I'm playing against. So that's the reason I do semi-pro. I mean, it's a great way to stay at the football. Like right now, that's basically all I got right now is semi-pro because I ain't got no pro contracts, no pro, none of that, no, not even no pro looks yet. So I mean, semi-pro is my pro right now. So.
And it's interesting you mentioned that because one of the first guests I had on the show, Darius Prince, he's my age, so we're both 30. He basically he used semi-pro as a vehicle to get to the NAL, and he used the NAL to get to the AFL, and he won Arena Bowl MVP with the Soul, and he won and he was Arena Bowl and Arena Bowl 30 and Arena Bowl 30 MVP, and they got on the Eagles practice squad.
Damn.
So I mean, his story is pretty much kind of like the blueprint, I feel like, for anyone who's in the situation like you are, where like, you are good enough, you do have the resume to justify why you deserve at least at minimum a look,
Like,
from the pro.
at least a shot.
Yeah,
At least a tryout, man. I know, like that's what I was hoping at NIU. You just give me a tryout, I'm gonna show you why I should be here.
Facts.
And even if you at the pro level, you give me a pro level tryout, I will show you why I should be here. Uh, going back to that, I did my senior pro day at NIU. I had pretty good numbers there. I came out with the fastest 40 time there. Uh, Good vertical jump, good broad jump, 17 reps on the bench press at my weight. I mean, good numbers. So I mean, every time been given the opportunity to show I could play somewhere, I've excelled at it.
Right, right. And I mean that's kind of and the pro day is pretty much kind of the hallmark as to kind of it's what will either build you or break you in terms of confidence, in my opinion. Because if your
Yeah,
numbers are good,
I think part of it did kind of break me, but at the same time, another part of it was the pandemic, because right after the pro day, the pandemic started. So I was like,
right.
the hell. But yeah, it's kind of a like a damn. Like I didn't talk to any scouts. No scouts reached out to me, and I'm like, man, I know I did good. I know. And then all of these articles come out, and all of these articles are like, oh, standout Dwayne Milton did this. Oh, standout Dwayne Milton did this. And I'm like, so why didn't I get talked to by anybody? And then, but I mean, I'm still going, man. I ain't broken down yet, man. I'm still going.
No, you still go, baby. You go 110%, and obviously, like I mean, like you said, you've been on Blots podcast, and now you're on another one. You know what I mean? So it's a
So
sign of, yeah,
again, I appreciate you having me, man.
100%, man. No, 100%, brother. I mean, because I think kind of like I said, this show specifically is aimed at. I mean, we've had obviously. I mean, if you look at the guest list, you'll see who I mean. I've had Super Bowl champions. I have, I mean, I'm not gonna brag. You can go look at my Facebook page and see who I've had, right? But
Mm-hmm.
essentially, kind of the point of this is also primarily for athletes on like you who are on the cusp. You're on the cusp. You know what I mean? You're right there. You're literally. You know what I mean? And obviously, like you said, the pandemic hit. It's just these series of events transpired that inhibited your opportunity. You
Yeah,
know, I mean, I'm sure that with the pandemic, they're not bringing as many guys into camp as much as they would, pre-pandemic.
that's exactly what it was too.
Right? So obviously, like from me playing arena, me playing arena, me saw basically being a former pro. I know this, right? Me knowing guys obviously who play in the NFL. I know this, right? You know this because you
Yeah,
lived it just now, right? And I mean, I think it's an important point to drive home. Obviously, if any NFL scouts are listening to this podcast or whoever's out there listening who has a connection, man, Dwayne Milton, bro. Hey, man, give him a shout. You know what I'm saying? So
got numbers for it, got the film for it. Whatever you
yes.
need, I could show it to you and prove it to you.
Big
So,
facts, big facts. Actually, yeah. I mean, I'm not sure if you're open to indoor, but I mean, there's a team down in Texas called the Austin Wild. One of my boys actually had a tryout, I think yesterday or a couple days ago.
anyway, at this point, I wasn't really big on the indoor. I played one indoor game, and I just didn't like the atmosphere of it, the space of it. But
Yeah,
I mean, if I were that was just a makeshift team that was put together, and it wasn't really like
a
we were
professional, right,
to do something. But
right.
man, at this point I could play some indoor football because I know I can play football, and that's just what I want to do, play some football. So if it's indoor, come with it. If it's outdoor, come with it. Anything that's gonna give me paid to play some ball, man.
Bingo. We gotta get Dwayne Milton some money. We call him Money Man next time he's on the show. So, 100%. I mean, yeah. I mean, anyone from the Austin Wild. I know Gabriel Martinez. Are you familiar with Gabriel Martinez? He's a coach with the West Texas Warbirds, CIF
name
team.
that
Oh,
name
okay.
sounds familiar. I would have to look and see, but the name sounds familiar.
Right, right. Yeah, he's also a guest of the show, so maybe we can connect you with him afterwards, and yeah, pretty much, that's how we do it, man. We gotta just get you in tune, get you, you
That's
know what I mean?
it.
What?
That's it. That's all.
That's it. Yes, sir. All right. Any closing thoughts? Any parting thoughts, Mr. Milton? I apologize for being late, but talk to me about kind of, obviously, what are your goals for 2021? Yeah, just to talk to me about that.
So, my closing remarks, I would say, anybody in my position, man, keep going, man, keep striving. Something gonna come up eventually, like it always does. In my situation is, I've been in this situation plenty of times, but it's been on different situations, and
Right.
some positive has came out of it. So if y'all in this little debacle, this funk, whatever you want to call it, hey, it's only a season. It's gonna go through. My goals for 2021, man, is I'm gonna try to find a team to play for, man. At least talk to somebody, or at least get out there, keep taking care of my daughter. That's about it, man. That's about it at all.
And talk to me about the joys of being a father, man. Obviously, you're trying to pursue this dream while, you have a family. Talk about that.
It's amazing, man. It's a blessing. My daughter, she brightens my day every day. On the other end of it, it is kind of hard. It is hard when you're babysitting all day to
Right.
to find some energy to go to the gym, to find some energy to go to the football field and throw a football around, or to do this and do that. She drains a lot of energy up out of me, but I wouldn't have it no other way though. So
100%, man. 100%. Obviously, being a father is the most rewarding thing, right? And it's amazing when I can see, you have a family, you have a daughter, and that's funny because Darius Prince, DP, man, shout out my boy DP. He's a regular on the show. I'll come back on next week. He said he did everything for his daughter. He did all for the daughter. He just wanted to provide the best life for her, and I'm
that's
sure,
how
and I'm
I
sure
do.
yeah, go ahead.
I said that's what I want to do, man. Provide the best life for her, man. Growing up, like I was in the hood of Chicago. Like I wouldn't say I had the best life, but it got me to where I'm at now.
Mhm.
It was my mom made the best of it, and I don't want to have to say that I tried to make the best for my kid. I want my kid, to have the best.
100%. And I think that hopefully we'll see next time you come on the show, you'll be making the big bucks on the big stage, and then you'll be like, all right, we did it.
Yeah, yeah, you'll definitely hear from me again, man, and it'll be positive on some type of football stuff.
Bingo, man. Hey, it's positive right now. Obviously, like just appreciate the grind, and obviously, like it's not about the destination, it's the journey. But ultimately, like you said, yes, it will be more positive next time you're back on. So
Most definitely, man. That's the truth.
most definitely, once again. Dwayne, man, hey, appreciate you having me on, brother. People, if people want to follow you, drop those social media links.
My Instagram is Dwayne Milton, man. Facebook is Dwayne Milton. Everything is Dwayne Milton, basically. You can all my links to film is on there. You can go to YouTube and search Dwayne Milton. It's gonna pop right up. I got 2 films on there, one from NIU and one from St. Francis. Make sure y'all check them both out because they both got some magical stuff on it. So.
Big time, man. I'm definitely gonna check it out too, just because because as a special teams guy, I want to see that. You know what I mean? And I love that. So. I mean that's what I live for. But also, obviously, being NAIA all-time leading rusher, probably, you'll probably get inducted to the St. Francis Hall of Fame if they have one. Yeah, good.
And that's another thing that'll be on my name, man. I'm already a part of their all decade team.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Good.
sir.
Like I said, I wanted to put my name on something, and when I say I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it.
We already know, man. We already know. All work, baby. All love and blessings, baby. So you know what? Hey, man. I'm looking forward to it, brother. Yeah, next time you're back on, on this football shit, bro, you're gonna be fucking shit up, big time. So most definitely. Dwayne, hey, appreciate you, brother, man. Have a great rest of the day. Stay blessed. Looking forward to your next steps. We'll be in touch.
You as well, man. Thank you for having me again. I appreciate it.
100%, brother. All right, take care.
Yep.